This rosy forecast from Qualcomm, particularly when it comes to sales in China, the smartphone market rebounding there, and Qualcomm's outlook for China, sales of Android-based phones increased 40% in the fiscal year. 40% for anything in China is eye-grabbing.
Yeah, no, and thanks for having me. So you kind of look at how Qualcomm has performed kind of all across the board, and for this quarter, I mean, definitely the numbers were strong here. Top line, I think, grew about 18%. We were looking for about 15% growth, and that translated to better than expected earnings. But to your point, the performance that they're seeing on the Android side of things, kind of inside of China, clearly we're seeing a nice recovery on the smartphone China side of things here this year. Qualcomm is definitely well penetrated and also on kind of the higher end of the market there. So they are kind of seeing a more favorable mix towards some of these premium type devices out there. As you kind of look at their kind of some of their next gen Snapdragon offerings out there, they are kind of coming with more AI capable, kind of these MPUs attached to them, so they can get they are getting more content attached to more and more of these high-end premium devices on the Android side of things specifically. So that recovery that we're seeing here in 2024 definitely helping the company out here.
Yeah, and of course it gets the lion's share of its revenue from these phone-related chips, but at the same time it is building out the automotive market as well, and it looks like the sales of chips used in vehicles jumped to 68%, to almost $900 million. Is that a business that could grow as large as the phone-related chip sales?
That's a great question, and listen, I think when you kind of look at Apple, or I'm sorry, Qualcomm here, they've really got two issues at hand, right? They're going to lose a lot of Apple business likely here over the next 3 years or so, because Apple is kind of developing their own internal chip that's going to replace that of what Qualcomm is developing for them. And then also kind of there is high risk out there in terms of on the China side of things, despite the fact that Qualcomm is doing very well in China. So when you kind of think about the need here to diversify, it's extremely important. They have an analyst day on the 19th. On November 19th, we are going to get a lot of details in terms of their diversification strategy. Automotive, Internet of Things did very, very well this quarter, despite the fact that when you kind of look across the broader semiconductor industry, you've seen a lot of challenges. So they are, definitely taking some share there. The question is, what kind of business are they winning on the automotive side of things? We're hoping to get more clarity on that side of things on the 19th. But yeah, I mean, this has the potential to be an absolutely enormous business. They are kind of, they've generated a very, very good pipeline here over the last couple of years.
So, Angelo, does the prospect of a Donald Trump presidency bring back into the conversation at all a potential Intel acquisition?
Well, I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, when we kind of look, just even though you've kind of seen some nice gains here out of Qualcomm after hours, and it definitely boosts their market cap a bit here. That's a tough one to kind of gobble up if you're Qualcomm. I mean, in terms of kind of how dilutive that is going to be for shareholders out there, I still find it to be a pretty big reach for Qualcomm to go out there after Intel. I mean, listen, a Trump presidency probably helps the situation if Qualcomm were kind of realistic about this. But that said, you're still going to need approval from China, and I just find that extremely difficult to get in my view. So I don't know if necessarily this kind of changes the whole kind of potential Qualcomm actually realistically being able to complete an acquisition of Intel at this point in time, for a number of reasons. One, regulatory; two, does it make financial sense for Qualcomm? But stay tuned. We'll see.